conquer demons all by yourself. All the hypocrites seem to say, take it on the chin, and you'll be A-okay, yeah. What do you need when you get what you want? I've been searching right where I belong. What do you need when you get what you want? Keep your feet on the ground and see the good love, good love, good love's all around. When we're lost in our body, when we lose our minds, no sense of direction without a hint of pride. Stand firm when the wind tries knocking you down. First we must be lost if we seek to be found. Yes, I realize that I need help. You can never conquer demons all by yourself. And all the hypocrites seem to say, and take it on the chin, you'll be A-okay, yeah. What do you need when you get what you want? I've been searching right where I belong. What do you need when you get what you want? Keep your feet on the ground and see the good love, good love, good love's all around. What do you need when you get what you want? I've been searching right where I belong. What do you need when you get what you want? Keep your feet on the ground. See the good love, good love, good love's all around. What do you need when you get what you want? I've been searching right where I belong. What do you need when you get what you want? Keep your feet on the ground.
Hey everyone, you just heard Good Love by Giant Panda Guerilla Dub Squad, a Rochester Zone. That was actually written by Eli Flynn. He is the subject to on this podcast here. We'll hear all about it, Root Fire Records. Let's just get started and hop right in. Welcome everyone to the Rochester Groovecast podcast, your local source for live, local, regional music, interviews, and events from Rochester, New York, and the full surrounding area. Of course, I am your host, Ben Albert. I'm super excited today that I'm here with Eli Flynn. Many projects in the Rochester area, most recently, the newest, best, up and coming member of Giant Panda Guerilla Dub Squad. And
Wait, did you say best member of Giant Panda?
the word best came out of my mouth.
You heard it here, folks.
And
I love
you're
it.
great. You're great. Best new member of Giant Panda. The whole band's great. I mean, you know this. Rochester knows this. Personally, my first Panda show was 2008. And back then we were just little kids compared to where we are now. And Adrian actually had mentioned it. Adrian D'Angelo. Back then, musicians seemed like gods on stage. So there is no best member. You guys are all great.
No, I love it. I was totally just busting you.
But you're right, man. You're right. And hey, listen, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, man. Glad to be here. This is really cool. I like what you're doing, and it's such a strange time to be doing but it's like I was telling you sort of before we started, it's been a really cool experience for me to just sort of like bite the bullet on a lot of stuff that I like have just been putting off creatively. Mm-hmm. And it's a real honor to be here talking about it, because it's like, man, this is what's really going on for all of us right now, and we're all in it. So, yeah, man, Panda, like back to what you were saying about like 2008 and watching the band. It's still crazy to me to think that this has been like, this band and these people have been a major influence on me and like where I started and all of that stuff. And then when I talk about it with other friends, it's like, yeah, me too. And I realize how important this band has always been. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, like things like goals, like artistic goals and like artistic freedom, and like who are we as people in this grand scheme of life, and like thinking about it in that way, and like how far I feel like personally my journey has brought me. And like originally it was all just about like forming a band, like making a band and like writing songs. And it's just like, even still to this day, like super crazy that I'm still a part of, and I get to be a part of this band and like have creative input, because it's like that was my top like dream and for so long. And I think that that's really cool to be able to do that with people that you look up to and have look up to just directly like that. And really fortunate and really humbled to like have that experience. So
it's incredible. How long ago did you join Panda? About a year? Or?
Yeah, man. So we started, my first tour was in April. We did like a little East Coast run. We did DC was my first show was at the Hamilton. That was an awesome, cool little intimate club vibe right downtown Washington, DC. We did New York City at the Mercury Lounge. It was really cool. And all along the way, it was amazing. I realized like one of my favorite parts about touring is catching up with people that you haven't seen in like forever. I noticed was like a huge thing that I really enjoyed. I just got to see my cousin. He was living in New York at the time. And I got to see other friends sort of scattered throughout the 50 states. And that to me is like full circle. Damn, this is really why we do this stuff. Like full connection with people that we haven't seen in a long time. And yeah, it's been a year.
It's impressive.
A great year.
And you'll notice my mind pops to one topic to the next, but I kind of want to start with now and then move a little bit back to ultimately the chronology of your career and some of the experiences. But given that now, you mentioned, you're having more time to do more artistic things. We're all quarantined. We're all forced to focus on different things and social distance, so on and so forth. How does that year round up, joining such a prestigious local band, seeing your friends and families on tour, and now finding your spot, a polar opposite situation where you're not touring? What are you doing to get out of bed in the morning? What's exciting you today?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. I think it is. It's totally a hard shift for any musician right now. I think about bands that had tours booked for months out, and like, wow, how much of a buzzkill, number one. But even more like importantly, I think, is the way in which I personally have found myself being super creative and really realizing like how important music is in my life. And I don't say that lightly. Like, just the way in which I was able to just say, all right, I'm going to dive into GarageBand, right? And I'm going to open up a session, and I'm going to try to get my girlfriend to sing on a song, and she sounds great. And now we're working together, and that's a thing. And then I went out and bought a new audio interface, and I'm going to be upgrading my computer. And now it's like one kind of just the same way it starts with the live process, man. And like, funny enough, it's like I feel just as much creative, even though we're not touring. And I don't know if I can say that for everybody, but like for me personally, it's been an awesome time. We have all this unreleased content that we're sitting on top of that. Good Love's going to be re-released as a dub remix by our homeboy Pachiman, who makes great dub records, and that's going to be out in like a couple weeks. So it's, to answer your question in short, it's like amazing how much there is there already to do. There's so many things to do as an artist, outside of performing live. And this has given me like the opportunity to really just like look at that and be like, okay, this is what I want to be doing. There's no excuse, you know. Here it is, time to just jump in. And so far that's been great. And fortunately we do have these like new songs we have been releasing, and I think that's one of the reasons why Panda has been such a cool band, is because like whenever we get together and we go into the studio, we have something to show for it. It may not be like a final product, but you know what I mean? Like I feel like the band is definitely like efficient, and it's cool to be a part of a group that gets in there, tracks drum and bass. If Dylan and I and Tony need to go back and hit some things, it's just there. That's the way it's done. And I think musicians just by nature are really sort of people that they're fighters, you know what I mean? Like musicians just like are so resourceful, and it's been especially true for all of my projects and all the people I've played with, and always something that I've tried to like take the lead in and like be responsible for, is like my level of input, and like how can I do this in the best way? How can we do this as a group? And how can we stay creative?
That's great, man. I like the responsibility, the resourcefulness. It sounds like every member of the band's planting seeds, getting ready to go. So when you're back together, you guys can make a garden quick.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. I wish I could have said that in so many words. That's perfect.
You mentioned Good Love. So that's the newest track from Panda, right?
Yeah, Good Love is our newest track, and tonight, like I said, we're dropping a live premiere on YouTube. It's one of Dylan's songs. It's dope. The second he played it for me, that's another thing. Going back to like efficiency in you know, Panda's a band that like we all live in different places, right? So myself, Chris, and Dylan, obviously, we live in Rochester, but Tony's in Buffalo, James is in South Bend. When we run around the road and we have sound check, like that's when all the ideas happen. And that's true for a lot of like touring bands that are doing things pretty consistently. And he showed me this song, all of us this song, on the road, and it just like caught. It has a groove. Dylan has like a really good ability to write songs that are just like right in the pocket. He like just like so danceable. And that's the true with this tune, which you'll hear tonight. So I won't spoil it for you, but really cool acoustic session of our time out in Denver.
You said 9 o'clock tonight?
9 p.m. Yeah, just a few hours from now. So,
is that going to be a live stream? Is it just going to be a full drop? What's that going to look like? How do I find it?
Full pre-recorded drop. You just can go to Rootfire TV. Is the name, or Rootfire is our label. The channel is under Rootfire on YouTube. And Rootfire and our manager Reed Foster, shout out to him. He's been doing an amazing job of taking care of all of us and like really like keeping us all in the loop on like projects and things that we have been like working towards. A lot of this stuff happens with like a good amount of like his leadership, which is really cool. So Rootfire TV on YouTube. I think the deal is, if you just type in Giant Panda, you should get a thumbnail with the premiere that's already set to go. So
good to hear. And if you're watching live, guys, check that out at 9. For anyone else listening, that'll be in the show notes as well. Any idea as to when the new album comes out? What's this process looking like as a band on a larger scale? How are you guys communicating? Does anybody meet up to practice in person, or is everybody in separate locations entirely?
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny because now that I think about it, it doesn't feel that different, because the only time we really like play, at least in the year that I've been touring, is on the road. And so we like Panda's always been, I feel like, good at like we keep in touch through like apps like GroupMe, which is like a really cool app for bands. Shout out to GroupMe if you need a band communication app separate from your text messages.
Cool.
And email and like things like that are pretty. We were supposed to. Okay, so the deal is we were supposed to record an album, like our material for an album, like this week or next week, I believe. And we're all just trying to figure it out, man. Just like everybody else right now, we're kind of just trying to figure out like how are we going to do things and hopefully, we see a little bit of let up with this whole thing, and we're just kind of crossing our fingers. It's really cool that we do have material that we are sitting on. But yeah, we're probably going to, end up recording stuff is going to get pushed a couple months out. Just like everybody else who's probably sitting on like a really cool record, but I'm able to send a couple demos here and there. And like I said, I was using, some Logic software, and, I got this cool little USB microphone that I've been using. It sounds pretty legit for like a $30 microphone. So like cutting demos and like just sending stuff back and forth. It's a really cool time to be making music in 2020. There's a lot of really easy, like efficient ways to send digital stuff to people. So
It's fun, man. And it sounds like, so as a band with Panda, you guys aren't practicing, rehearsing every day. You're doing a lot on your own, and you're probably pretty used to that because before Panda, you've been a part of many projects, lesser known, maybe MVT, Mike Vidala Tribe from back in the day, totally. To, the more current stuff with Upward Groove and Eli Flynn and the Everymen. What am I missing? I know that's 3.
Shout out to Able Bodies, myself and Mr. John Viviani.
Oh, yeah.
That's always a good time.
Yeah, that's brand new. That's some fresh tracks with them,
you know
right?
what, man? I'm bummed because like we just started like performing live. And it's all good, you know what I mean? Like this is just the reason. Like I said, like the same thing I was doing with Panda is what I'm doing with John. I'm sending in some ideas, and you mentioned Upward Groove, Able Bodies, Everymen. When I say it out loud, it's like, why do I do this to my? Why do I do so many things at once? It's really wild. But you know what? It never feels like I'm killing myself, which must mean that I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So that I can say for myself. But yeah, man, able bodied stuff. It's like I'm like ADD when it comes to music and like any genre. It's hard for me to stick to like, because I mean, it's hard for anybody. Like, I mean, if I took a look at your playlist right now, like at least I can say for myself that there's a bunch of different styles of music on there. Mm-hmm. And I do have a desire to just sort of like try everything and get good at things, like just by doing them, even if it sounds like crap in the beginning. And like, to me, that's the real fun when it comes to music. Like, I love artists who are flexible. I love artists that like every album is different, like I love that. And I think it's like really cool to see people evolve. And I felt like I've had like each band, MVT, Upward Groove, all of those groups have just given me such a amazing skill set just by playing with those people and like being a part of a group of friends like that. It's just fun. It's fun to be in a band where like you and your friends are doing something that's just like nobody's getting hurt, nobody's doing something, nobody's in trouble, like nobody's risking their lives. Like there's so much danger out there. I mean, like for any kid growing up right now, I feel like it's a hard time. Any young kid growing up, it's like, fortunately we all had music and we were able to get together and just jam, and like, even if it sounded like trash, like, man, I wrote some of the best stuff, just like the initial stuff sounded like complete garbage. And if anybody who's like aspiring to like write songs, like you're gonna write like 10 really shitty songs before you write one good song. So that's my advice.
Yeah, and it sounds like you really love it. I like that you mentioned the diversity on a playlist, for example. Just on Monday, podcast actually just rolled out today. Sienna mentioned like 25 artists when I asked what her influences were. What Adrian D'Angelo had said on the podcast was not to be a one-trick pony. And it seems like a common theme with a lot of the great musicians in the area. I'm wondering, when did you decide that you wanted to go with music? Was it because you had all these influences? Did someone mentor you? Was it just girls love guitar? What got you that start?
Correct to all of those, Ben. No, I think growing up is my mother. My mother was very like into African dancing. There was a dance group based in Rochester called Bush Mango that we would go together. So my mom would take me as a young kid. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4. And I don't know if everybody knows this, but my dad was as a Senegalese musician. He wasn't around in my life at all, like growing up or even currently. But music is something that I think is so genetic, and it's like such a, I don't know, man. I can't really think of too many other things like creatively that are a genetic art, but I could be totally wrong. Just based on my experience, though, my mom would take me to these dance classes, and there was a lot of African drumming, djembes, and other sorts of instruments. Dun, that's the word. That's the instrument I was looking for, which is like a lower end, sort of like similar to a drum kit in the way that it's set up, different pitch drum heads. And I would literally sit there as a young kid, 3 or 4 or 5, and just like feel those resonance, those like frequencies, the low end and like the high energy. Like, and I think that's where for me, rhythm played a huge role in my understanding of music foundation, like just straight traditional African drum and dance. And I couldn't really think of a better, looking back, it's like that's such a good foundation for any musician, any aspiring person to do anything creative. And soon after that was violin, classical instruments, which is a huge part of like my, I guess I would say, musicianship, and totally like hated the violin for years. Like, like the most, like there's not too many instruments that sound like, if you're learning an instrument, like that's not one that I would suggest just based off of like auditory, like frequency. If you sound bad on a violin, people know about it. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty piercing.
Yeah. So, but that was a huge way for my ear. I feel like my ear training, like pitch and everything. The combination of that, like that classical element and the traditional West African drum and dance, I feel like had everything to do with my interest in music. So yeah, that's a good question.
That's huge. That's huge. And look, guitar is obviously your main instrument. Is your favorite?
Yeah, dude, I go back and forth whether or not I even like guitar. I mean, I like guitar. Like, let's not be ridiculous here. I love playing guitar, but like sometimes it's hard to stay motivated on an instrument. If you've been playing it for so long, you start looking at the guitar the same way, and you start to feel a little stale. And I've been jamming a lot on some keyboards this quarantine, man. I've been doing a lot of like just sound searching. Like really diving into like the Logic software and like messing with drum plugins and like loop libraries, sample libraries, and just like I said, back to like sounding like crap. So nobody knows what I'm like doing. Nobody knows how bad it sounds if it's like in private. And then I like perfect it, and then I like maybe feel comfortable with like releasing some sort of like, instrumental project. But yeah, totally. Like this is, like I said, this has been a really cool time to like write and like try new things for me, like keyboards especially.
It's fun. It's funny because there's been common themes and I'm not looking for them. They've just started to occur. When I talked to Sage Xavier, he's got some like dubsteppy electronic music he's been working on. And Ben Chilbert's been doing some lo-fi, like techno-y electronic music on his spare time. And it just seems like everyone's dabbling with new sounds, dabbling with new technology that they didn't always use on a daily basis. I'm wondering,
there's gonna be some banging music after this thing is over, man. I'm telling you right now.
Dude, it's like anything. When you have this energy, you just want to get out. You want to get it out. Shows are going to be exciting. I think turnouts are going to be better than ever long term.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I don't want to hear anybody talking about the $5 ticket anymore.
That's what I've been saying. So I understand. $5 is very cheap. I understand. Yeah. Depending on the band, once you get to $20, $30 on, let's say, a Wednesday, Thursday night, okay, that's a conversation. But Friday night, $10 minimum. Everybody pay it. It's worth it, man.
And I think, dude, like, venues taking care of artists and like fans taking care of art. It's just like a really simple chain that should be in place, like way more than it already is. And I don't understand. I understand why that's not, because like as a business, as a place that sells alcohol, like that's a huge percentage of your market, right? Like, and it's so funny as somebody who like stopped drinking and using and everything. Like, I turn on the TV. Andrew Cuomo says that liquor stores are essential, and I'm just sitting here thinking like, wow, oh my God, like it totally is such an important part for some people, for I guess the majority of people, that liquor be a part of that experience, or like some sort of substance be a part of an experience. And that's fine. Like, not bashing anybody who drinks and enjoys themselves at a show. It's just like, man, it's so funny how that's still considered something that's so essential.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because there's such a margin to be made for venues and bands. But you know, it's like I think you and I both feel the way that, you know, music should be like the primary source of that entertainment. And I think, you know, having places that don't serve booze and, like, I don't know, like maybe something else would be like a cool step in the right direction. Because, you know, like being a touring artist and like being on the road, like there's always, for me, and like, you know, sobriety, it's hard. It's like I always have to like watch myself, because there's so much stuff around all the time. And like, not with like any of the groups I'm playing with, like all the guys I'm jamming with are like real cool, real respectful, like got their head on straight. It's just it's a nature of the beast, you know, that I wish wasn't there for everybody who is like on the sober train, or just in general.
No, there's definitely a combination between the two. At the end of the day, people need to eat. They need to drink. You could cook at home. You don't need to get fast food. It's more a luxury. My one question, and it's a hard argument to make, but why is live music non-essential? I don't want to make a full argument, because I'll get pushback. Obviously, it's not social distancing, but you know, going to a show, I'm just making this up, a 200-person venue, selling 25 tickets, social distancing. This is not a good idea. I don't agree with it, but I'm thinking to myself, how do you determine essential versus non-essential? Why is takeout Chinese food essential when being able to experience I'm going to stop this because it's not a full valid argument.
It's okay. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, well, and I'm interested to think about it more, because I personally see music as an essential thing. That's why we can still listen to it. We can do the live streams. The music community is very strong, and the using the internet for it's growing faster than ever. I'm just asking a big question as to what's essential versus non-essential. You know, getting liquor is essential, but seeing music's not. And the reason I don't want to have a big talk on this is because everyone's going to say it's not social distancing, and they're totally right. But is Chinese takeout social distancing?
Yeah, it's so strange. Like I said, we're living in such a weird time, and nothing seems to be regulated to the extent where like we know what every person on you know, in Rochester knows the difference between what's socially acceptable, or what's legal and what's not, what's okay, what's safe, what isn't safe. That's why it gets weird. And like obviously the whole live concert isn't something that is safe, right? We can both agree on that, but it's given me and a bunch of other players like the sort of like forced push in the right direction to like I said, be creative and like release stuff and stay like writing. And it's no different than what we were doing already, which is the cool part either. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people get to see what's going on behind the scenes, myself included. I like the whole live stream thing, man. It's like not even from like a audio perspective, because it's hard. Like, you know, there's latency, there's delay, there's choppiness, you know, that's like, yeah, that's a pain in the ass, but you're really looking at what it looks like to write a song and create something from scratch. So if you don't like that, you know, don't complain when you pay $10 for the show and you see the final product.
I love it, man. It's some of the best content creators. They'll post a photo of their cute dog, and that photograph will get more attention than the latest song. Not that the latest song isn't incredible, but people like to dive into your world. I think that's what's happening with the live streams and people getting a little more interactive online. So you've done some live streams. What have you done in the past few weeks here? online, and what are you planning on doing to kind of get a little more interactive with your fans?
Yeah, man. First thing I did, which is a great experience, was I went live through this site called The Mighty, which is a mental health awareness website, and that was super cool. I sort of took the approach of the music therapy route, which is for those of you that don't know, I'm a music therapy intern at BOCES 2 school district, which is a related service for the West Side, Greece, Brockport, and that kind of thing. So my daily routine is going into classrooms of all different shapes and sizes, kids, with emotional behaviors, kids on the autism spectrum disorder, and other kids with developmental delays. And I get to see this level from, kids, preschoolers, all the way up to kids who are transitioning out of high school. And what I've seen is just, it's so hard for me now because I miss my kids that I see in the classroom. And I know that it's hard for them because routine and this music therapy that they're receiving is such an important part of their curriculum. It just ties in beautifully. We address things like behaviors, things like social cues, things like how to live independently or how to work towards living independently through music. So for me, that's been a huge thing that I'm missing out on as an intern and as a staff member over there. But like we've been using YouTube as an amazing resource there. And that's been huge, and it makes us feel, sleep a little better at night. And it's just so weird. And I'm sorry, I totally forgot the first part of that question because I went into what have I been doing. So yeah, I led a conversation based on music therapy, and I performed some live music, and I kind of demonstrated how a session went. Second thing I did was shout out to Matt Rammerman for doing the Rochester live stream music fest. That was awesome.
Shout out to Greenstream. Thank you. That was cool. I actually, I was feeling so weird during that set, man. I was like, that's when everything started to hit me, like right as I was playing, and I was like super tired, and you could like see how tired I was. And I felt so bad about it like the next day, and I was like, man. And then I realized like that's just what's going on. Like I need to accept the reality of what's going on, and just like, okay, man, like now's your time. Use this music. Use what you know. Use what you love to like pick yourself out of bed and like get people moving and get people excited about things that they always have been, and like most importantly, like make myself feel better, and like don't worry if like if I can't snap into this life now that's just completely changed. Like shit takes time, and luckily like the support is there. The support is there if you need it, and like being honest with your feelings about like, yeah, this shit sucks. Like nobody's gonna be a superhero. Nobody's gonna wake up tomorrow and go out and like have a party. Like that whole dialogue needs to be stopped. So yeah, man, I know it's hard for everybody right now, and like just accepting that and like trying to like do little things every day to like make yourself happy, and with or without music. Like I said, sometimes like the music has been helpful to me. Sometimes it's been stressful, like because it's something I do all the time. It's like I know music very well. There's other things that I'm working on to get better at, like meditation or like having the daily exercise routine. But yeah, I'm with you. That was going to be my next question. You knocked two of them off: meditation, a daily exercise routine. What kind of fun things, whether they're hobbies or rituals or any of that, have you been working on? Is that your main two right now?
Yeah, dude. I've been doing like this exercise routine. I swear by this routine. Ready? 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups a day. And you can split those. I usually do 50 in the morning, 50 of each in the morning, 50 of each at night. And it's like such a good, like wholesome workout, and you don't need anything for it. Yeah, that's been like my physical routine, which is cool. That's totally helped. The physical like stuff has been like, godsend.
My one, so I've done something similar. I haven't been as committed as I should be, but I usually toss lunges in there.
Yeah, dude, lunges are a great one. Burpees, squat thrusts. Everybody hates those, but they're like awesome. Yeah, and like as trying to stay as safe as possible. Every once in a while I'll meet up with a buddy and stay safely, away from him, and we'll go run. We'll go for a run.
Cool, man. So. But it's You look like you're in a nice place. How's that treating you? Is that a new crib you
Yeah,
got?
yeah, man. New crib. Me and my girlfriend live here. I got the. Let's see if I can take you on a brief little tour here. This might ruin everything. Here we go. Okay, so here's like I have a couple wall hangers over here. This is like my man space. We share together though, but I got a little Victrola over there in the corner, a little record player.
Did I see a mandolin?
Yes, yeah, that's the Mando. Let me see if I can grab it real quick. I know I can grab it, but let's see if I can play anything on here. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's personally never seen you play mandolin.
Yeah, dude, I wrote this one song a long time ago. Let's see if I can remember. Well, I can go learn a tune. Nothing's better than singing about you. 'Cause I learned, yes I learned, that your beauty is the truth. Well, I can run and I can hide, and I lose sight of your brilliant eyes. So I lie next to you, and your beauty is the truth. That's my mandolin debut right there. Oh, are you muted?
Yeah, I was muted.
Okay.
I love it, man. I did not expect that.
Yeah, I've been, like I said, man, like it's been a cool way to just like sit back and like work on some new stuff and like revisit, more importantly, like revisit things that I maybe have like started and then gave up on. But yeah, this is the joint. It's been really cool. We live right downtown, right by Flower City Station. It's a cool. The city has like never been this quiet ever, and it's really like eerie, but like really cool to see. So
Yeah, shout out to Flower City Station, obviously an
Yes.
incredible venue.
Major shout out.
So you play mandolin, you've been playing with some new technology, whether it's obtainable or not at this time. If you could pick up a weird new instrument, or even if it's not music, a crazy new hobby, what would you like to do? You ever thought about something, just never got to it?
Yeah, man. If I could pick up a new hobby, it's like all things that involve breaking the social distancing rules. I mean, actually, I don't know. Is skydiving, like, you're pretty high up. You're pretty away from, I mean, I've always wanted to do, like, jump out of an airplane. That's been on the bucket list. One thing I will never do is get in a helicopter. That's just nothing I'll ever do. Just look at the success rate of helicopter rides compared to airplane rides. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, even just talking about it gets me scared. Never catch me in a helicopter. Those things crash.
Yeah. I could be remembering wrong. Was Kobe Bryant in a... Yeah.
Yeah, man. And like, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray.
Who else? Just like a lot of people. Google it. I don't know. I mean, like, it's not safe.
Speaking of traveling, music-wise, where has been your favorite or few favorite places to travel, and or favorite venues to play, whether it was a festival, a large venue, an opening bill, a double headliner, anything like that?
Yeah, it's a good one. So we were just out west as a band, both with Giant Panda and with homie Jack West that I've been playing with you. I totally forgot to mention Mr. Jack West, who's a very talented teenage boy. Who is I bust his balls all the time. Jack, you are a man. All right, you're a man in my eyes. You've grown a lot musically, and you're like 7 foot tall. So Jack West,
Quick question on Jack, because I started hearing about him about a year ago. Where did he come from?
Yeah, a really talented dude out of Victor, New York, and he's got a really cool, interesting vibe, man. He's got like a grunge, I don't know. He's got like a rock and roll, think Seattle rock vibe, like Pearl Jam, Nirvana. He really crushes those like sounds. Really talented writer, man. Like young talented writer, and it's been really like awesome getting to know him and his fam. And I brought him up because we were out in Seattle jamming at this place called Easy Street Records, where his vinyl was being released that day, which was like a really cool, it felt like we were in the 90s. Just like we got off the plane and we landed in the 90s at this record shop called Easy Street Records. And that video is up right now. Shout out to Jack West, Easy Street Record Live. It's like a video and audio. It's really cool. It was a really cool experience. And we were just at Arizona Roots Fest, shared some really cool bills. We were playing with Steel Pulse, Collie Buds, just to name a couple. Our boys The Best out there crushing it in San Diego. Really fun time. We're gonna like be reunited with hopefully everybody in the Panda family in October at St. Petersburg Reggae Rise Up with Modest Yahoo Movement, The Best, Panda, and who I think I'm not sure. Favorite venue? It's really hard to say, man. Like, it's all I sort of compartmentalize everything as like a all around day, like, you know, scenery, which is very rare that we get to like really hang out in a place for too long. But we were just in Denver, hung out with our buddy Joel Scanlon, who tracked, I think he mixed as well, the Panda Country album. So we were staying at his house, and actually, the fun fact, the rainbow, the double rainbow picture on that record is right outside of his studio. So that was cool, man. Like, just to be able to see like some of the history involved with the band before my time, and being able to jam there. Denver was super fun because I also got to see my cousin, who I mentioned earlier, was at the time living in New York City, recently moved to Denver. Thank God, because of all the stuff that's like happening right now in New York City. I feel for anybody who has any family out there or down in the city or anything. But it's all just been a cool ride. Like, every city has something cool about it, you know, like every place you get to like pick apart, like, how is this place cool? How is that place cool? Like, what don't I like? Why would I never live here? Why would I live here? DC was really fun and exciting, man. I think just because it was like the first show that I had played with Panda at a really nice, friendly, like very, very nice hospitality venue called the Hamilton. And yeah, man, all of it's been Grassroots was like probably one of the most fun times I've had on stage with Panda. That was like something about the Grassroots vibe, as you probably know. I can't describe it, man. I try to describe the feeling it's like being there, but I can never do it. It's not like any other festival that I've ever been to. It's just very like it's a very natural festival. It's a very like calm and welcoming, no craziness. I feel like everybody's like really friendly to each other. So that's high on my list.
I love Grassroots, man. I'm not gonna ramble about them for an hour because I could.
I bet you could. I know, it's crazy.
I almost, friends of mine actually did cry. I almost cried over it. They canceled this year's July festival. It's always the third week of July. And I know Giant Panda, I've been there 10 years. Those boys have played there. You guys have played there almost all 10 as far as I know.
Yeah, dude, it's we talked about it in the band chat. It was a pretty heavy hit, I think, for especially like, you know, some of the OG Pandas, because it has been such a long time. But like I said, and I understand why, because last year, man, it was like the energy on stage was something I could never explain to you, but it was like something that was definitely like tangible and in the air. And I think we were all just really on that night. We had Keller come out and play some tunes as well. That was really cool. So yeah. Yeah, man, lots of different bits and pieces I could pull from. The most boring part of being on the road is waiting, which is just unfortunately part of the game. Sitting in a van and waiting, and sound checking and waiting. But like, sound check is cool because you get there and you get to rehearse things. Like I was telling you, there wouldn't be this new song from Dylan if we didn't get a chance to practice while we were sitting around waiting. So trying to like be an efficient band is something that Panda's just like got down, I think, because they've been doing it for so long, and it's cool for me to be a part of that and like see how they do things and like realize that it's from a place of just doing it for so long. where like I would get nervous at like, you know, if this was like, you know, one of my first tours, and a young band like that I was leading, maybe, they just like, they have it all kind of like worked out because just strictly by experience, they've been doing this shit for a long time, and it's really cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's tough because at the end of the day, being a musician, you are an entrepreneur, you're a business, you know, you're a freelancer. So it sounds like they have the mechanics and minutia down pretty well.
Yeah, man. I think one of the reasons why Grassroots is so important to Panda is because Panda is a grassroots band. I mean, they're true to their message. I say they a lot. We are true to our message, and true to why we started doing everything in the first place, and like not conforming to any other sound but their own. I mean, there's no other band that sounds like Panda, you know, and there's no other festival like Grassroots.
Yeah, it's just as a funny just ad lib. Like 5-6 years ago, my buddies and I, when we would stay up all night at Grassroots, we would sing, you know, all night music, but we would sing all night Grassroots.
Yeah.
Gem until the sun come up. And, you know, yeah, you're right. They've got a message of love. They've got a message of nature, of togetherness. And that's the vibe of Grassroots. So it's,
yeah, I guess I could say if we could go on a festival run of all Grassroots style festivals, it's over. That would be so much fun. And like every show is fun, man. It's all fun. It's just like managing, you know, keeping that energy right, and like staying on top of things night after night. And like, it's hard. It's hard. Being on the road is hard.
Do you ever just feel like smashing your guitar and walking out?
Oh man, I should just do that to make things exciting. I should just like cause a huge scene. That would be hilarious. No, I never feel that way, but that would be hilarious if we like. I've seen bands do like the fake fighting thing. You've seen like viral videos of bands.
Oh yeah.
It's like Spinal Tap. You know, that's why it's funny, because that's what we all think of right away.
It's ridiculous, man. But I mean, you've been playing music live for how long now?
Long time, man. Thinking about it, probably like a solid like 10, 11 years.
You've never felt like just smashing the guitar and being done?
Oh, dude, I've totally felt like smashing the guitar. Never like on stage or in the moment. Although it's like in my head, I've gotten really good. I feel like I've just, by being a performer for so long, you get really good at like learning how to mess up. Like you're just like really good at learning how to fake things sometimes. And that's sort of like a funny way to look at it, but just like it's a skill like anything else, man. And like starting from the bottom and like just perfecting it, and not always perfecting it either. Like it's always a thing. It's always a thing. And luckily Rochester is a city that's really receptive to the live music, which is cool. Always been a cool thing.
Yeah. Started from the bottom. Now you're here.
Yeah, exactly.
What,
now I finally know what Drake's talking about.
Exactly. Don't know why I brought up Drake, but who are you listening to nowadays?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna open up my Spotify playlist right now so I can tell you exactly who I'm listening to.
Cool, man.
So I've been listening to a lot of this artist, Mortimer. You heard?
No.
He's a reggae artist, and he's amazing. Check out Mortimer, Mortimer, Mortimer. A song called Lightning that I've been like playing on repeat. Really cool, like R&B style reggae, like really smooth, amazing backup vocals. The song was mixed like perfectly, like with a more of like a modern sound. Like I say R&B because it sounds like it could be like played on our radio right now, as like a love song. Really, really cool stuff. I've been listening to Toth's record. Do you know the band Rubble Bucket?
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you know Alex Toth, his side hustle? It's not a hustle. It's just his music. It's really cool.
Is Alex in Rubble Bucket? Is he one of the main two?
Yeah, so he's one of the primary songwriters in Rubble Bucket. He plays trumpet.
Okay. Right, okay.
Yeah, so he has a record. It was we got to play with Rubble Bucket a couple of times. That was really cool. Down in Charlottesville for the festival called The Festy. That was us, Robert Randolph, Dawes, Rebel Bucket, and a couple other groups. But man, that guy writes a hell of a song. Check it out. His artist name is Toth, Toth. He goes by. He's got a solo record called "Practice Magic Without Seeking Professional Help," or "With Seeking Professional Help." One of the two. Really good, man. I've been spinning that like all night, and of course our boy Pachiman, who did the Good Love dub, which will be dropping soon. He's got his own record called At 3033 House. Homeboy lives in Echo Park, LA, just crushing. Go on Instagram, type in Pachiman, Pachyman, and he's got some of the coolest dub videos. He does everything himself. He plays drums, he plays bass, keys, guitar, and he just like lays it down. So that's what's been on my radar.
That's awesome, man. And how's that changed in the past 10, 15 years? What was on your radar 10 years ago? Where'd you get your start?
Oh, man, let me think about this. 10 years ago. I was listening to a lot of stuff. I was like deep into Sublime, like a ton of people were. I was studying music. I was studying jazz guitar. So I was listening to a lot of like Wes Montgomery, and I was listening to a lot of John Scofield. You may know John Scofield, like Scofield, Medeski, Martin Wood. I was listening to a lot. Yeah. You know what? Because my teacher at the time was Bob Snyder. Bob Snyder is a professor at Eastman School of Music. So I was taking community lessons with Bob Snyder. Turned me on to Wes Montgomery, turned me on to Scofield, turned me on to like everything. I don't know, like all the jazz players. Like I feel like I really got like a good foundation for like the jazz guitar specifically. And that sort of just like blended its way into other stuff I was listening to. Like I was really into like Raconteurs, and I was really into like Jack White's projects, and some like alternative rock stuff, some Queens of the Stone Age. Really like a huge John Frusciante fan of Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's like one of my idols. I'd probably liken my playing most to his. Not to say that I don't draw inspiration from like a bunch of other people, but
fun. I so many shout outs on this episode.
I know.
Shout out to all the influences, all the great musicians all across America, all across the world. Shout out to Giant Panda. How do we keep in touch nowadays? What's the best way to reach you guys?
Yeah, in terms of like content?
Yeah, what website, Instagram, and beyond that, how do we keep in touch with Eli, you and your able bodies, so on and so forth?
Yeah, I'm hoping that just like after this is over, man, there'll just be like a whole bunch of music that we're sitting on. Like I said, Panda had plans to record a record. We were going to be in the studio like all week next week. As to how much of that's actually still happening, I'm not sure. Which is something that we have to figure out pretty soon. But like livepanda.com is the number one like Panda resource. Keeping up obviously on our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel is about to get a lot of like makeover stuff happen to it, which is exciting. Able body stuff is still kicking strong. Me and John are still bouncing ideas back and forth. So Instagram seems to be the like what most people are on, right? I mean, you tell me. Like I feel like as artists, we're all still trying to figure that out. Like, what's the easiest way to like stream or share or whatever?
Yeah, I'm not a pro, but Instagram short form content.
Yeah,
more short form content, daily content on your story. I like YouTube for long form. Personally, we're on Facebook, but Facebook, I sometimes feel like they're suppressing some stuff unless you pay to advertise. And honestly, like, what do
They're
you
gonna shut us down right now because we just said
do you use Instagram for yourself? Because my recommendation is draw people to your Instagram and post content there as well.
Yeah, I've been slacking on the Instagram. I mean, like I'll do like Instagram stories and things. Like, I do agree. I think that Instagram is like the most captivating platform right now, and like trying to get that into the concise format is really like the move I think that people are doing, and like a lot of other artists are doing.
TikTok.
And I need to hire like a 13-year-old to just manage my Instagram account. And TikTok is something I don't know if I could ever handle as a person. You know what I mean? Like TikTok, I feel like I would just lose my shit. I would. I don't know, but that's how people get phased out. You know what I mean? It's like not conforming to platforms, or, you know. So I don't want to sound like an old man over here, but yeah, always staying hip to those ideas and like staying hip to like what's really like what people are consuming is important. Also a huge drag, but.
You know, and I'm just thinking out loud because I'm with you. I haven't touched TikTok. I wouldn't know where to start on it. I kind of feel like an old man about it. But at the end of the day, you know, that is where the youth is. Yeah. And long term, you know, when you're affecting people with your message and you're motivating the youth, I think TikTok might eventually be the move. I just think us old farts, I don't know. It feels that way being a millennial. We just don't understand it yet. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. And no old person wants to admit that they don't understand something. I mean, that's the other side. That's the other side of the coin. But you're right, man. I gotta bite the bullet and get on the TikTok.
We'll see what's up. You know, some able bodies dance moves on TikTok.
Yeah, see, that's true. I mean, like a band like Able Bodies, which is very. I don't know, a band like Able Bodies, which I think that whole aesthetic would transfer really well to something like that, and that's something me and John could totally brainstorm on, because I think you're onto something there.
Hey, just thinking out loud. So yeah, anyone who, I think there's like 40-50 people in Somalia that don't know Giant Panda Gorilla Dub Squad yet. So if you're under,
tap into the Somalian market, my friend.
Check them out, obviously, on all platforms. Check out Eli Flynn on all platforms. Eli Flynn and the Everymen, the Able Bodies, Jack West, Upward Groove. You guys doing any additional?
You know what's so sad is that we had a reunion planned for tomorrow.
Oh my God!
Of like our 10th and final reunion.
10th. It would be 10th.
It's become sort of a running joke at this point that it's always going to be our last show, and people are so confused by that, and I am too. But yeah, man, like much love to those guys as well. We got together for a practice. That was a lot of fun because I don't even remember last time we were all in the same room together. So that was a good hang. And hopefully, it's when this is all over, we can finally do our last show ever of all time. But we'll see.
Beautiful, man. No, we're excited for it. Thanks for coming on the show. I want to ask you one last question because I do ask everyone it. And it's the billboard question. You know, imagine you've got a billboard on the side of the highway, the side of the road, very highly populated area. And let's say this place doesn't even exist. It's so populated, it has every kind of person. You know, it has people from the east, the west, the north, the south. It has all colors, all kinds of people, all ages. And it's your job to come up with a message for that billboard. It can be lyrics from a song you've wrote, it can be a quote, something you've heard, or just something that you've thought about before, or you can make it up on the spot. But
it's a good question.
What would you put on that billboard and why?
So I think I would put "Be Easy," just straight up "Be Easy," because like it's not like you're telling people to like subscribe to a certain creed or like you know how the Lamar had those billboards that was just like this thing going on. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? Like really minimal. Like even like the Got Milk campaign. You know how successful that? 2 words and like a silly picture of like some celebrity drinking with a milk mustache. I think like those weird like sort of like ambiguous sort of like just grab people's attention. And I think "Be Easy" is a good message right now because I think we're all super like stressed. And I'm not sure how many people are traveling on the highway looking at billboards either, but like, man, be easy. Those are the only thing. That's what immediately came to my mind.
I love that. And just as another great one, Just Do It, Nike.
Just Do It, right? Like how successful is that campaign?
I almost feel like Just Do It represents, you know, the grind and getting out and doing it. But right now we can't just do it.
Yeah.
And that's where
we have to figure out alternate ways to just do it.
That's where "Be Easy" comes into play, you know.
No doubt.
finding a way to step back and relax and figure it out.
Yeah, man.
Love it, man.
Glad you agree.
Love it, man. Yeah. Rochester Groovecast podcast. We're excited to have Eli Flynn on this episode. This will drop. What day is it? It's going to drop Monday at 8 because we have new episodes every Monday at 8. Monday at 8, Thursday at 8 a.m. New drops. rochestergroovecast.com. Excited to be chatting with you, Eli. Since we're streaming live with an audience, can you play us a few songs just to close everything out?
Yeah, I'll play you one out. That's one of my favorite songs of all time that I've been playing pretty consistently, man. A cover we do with Panda, "A Change Is Gonna Come" by Sam Cooke. I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Oh yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I'm not sure what's up there on the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Oh yes it will. Then I go to the movie, I go downtown. Somebody always telling me, don't come around. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh yes it will. Then I go to my brother, I said, brother, help me please. Then he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Please, there's been times when I thought that I could last so long. Now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh yes it will. Oh yes it will. Oh yes it will. Oh yes it will.
So much gratitude, everyone, for listening to the show. Just Google Rochester Groovecast. You'll find us on Facebook, the website. You can click the links below for any of that. And ultimately, Rochester Groovecast on any podcast app. I wanted to play one more track because on the show, Eli had talked how he'd been working with recording stuff and new technology during the quarantine. And he mentioned a new song. It's called Quarantine Blues with him and Whitney Young. Again, Quarantine Blues, Eli Flynn and Whitney Young. You made it this long. We appreciate you. Listen to this track and I'll talk to you soon.
settled down, the world out there got tossed in frenzy. And I know that we've both got a ways to go, but I ain't got nothing but time. When I feel weak, you gently speak me back to where I can remember. A place so warm and sweet where I got clean way back in mid-September. And I know that we've